I've often made paintings and then I've seen another artist making paintings based on the same idea. First reaction was, hey, this guy's copied me. And then I think, no. Here we are all alone in our studios thinking up new ideas based on the world as it is at the moment and who's done what previously. And we call, as you know, using a German term, Zeitgeist, which is things are in the air. Kandinsky is famous throughout art history because he is registered, as it were, as being the artist who made the first abstract painting. And I think from then onwards, artists have felt able to challenge the viewer, make them move into another a recognizable world, but they were given something that they had to work on to understand. What am I looking at here?
Wassily Kandinsky was extremely aware that he was discovering something new as kind of an innovator, really, not only in relation to art, but also thinking about artistic theory and philosophy.
The work he was doing hadn't been done in that way before, and it opened up the doors for so many other people to work in an abstract way.
Das ist wie ein Generalbass der Moderne ist, dass sich Künstlerinnen und Künstler immer wieder auf diese Grundaspekte von Malerei besinnen.
The development of abstract art stems from Kandinsky's pioneering work. He developed a way of talking about art which was symbolic and spiritual, and he talked about colours being warm or cool, or lines, or above a line or below a line, point leading to the line, and etc., etc. So that is Kandinsky's universe.
Kandinsky hat sich ja von einem Getreideschoberbild von Monet inspirieren lassen, und hier im Museum Barberini gibt es ja zwei aus dieser Serie, und eines davon, die Serie von Getreideschobern, zeigt uns eigentlich, was Kandinsky so faszinierend fand. Das sind ja Bilder, die ganz stark schon die Primärfarben Rot, Gelb und Blau haben, und dann war das ja dieser ganz unspektakuläre dreieckige Gegenstand, den Kandinsky erst gar nicht so richtig als etwas auf dem Feld Stehendes, also er hat den Gegenstand gar nicht erkannt und hat ihn dann umgesetzt in Farbe, Formen und ihn inspiriert zu einer eigentlich lebenslangen Beschäftigung mit den elementaren Momenten von Malerei, also Farbe, Form und Raum. Und das sind jetzt Aspekte, die wir in unserer Ausstellung in einem großen Bogen von den 1910er Jahren bis in die 60er Jahre zeigen.
Das Schöne an Kandinskys Kunst ist wirklich, dass er das Spirituelle mit dem Wissenschaftlichen verbindet. Also das spiegelt sich auch sehr schön in unserem Titel Kosmos, was natürlich einerseits wissenschaftlich ist, andererseits natürlich dieses Größere, dieses Geistige, was Kandinsky immer wieder sucht in seiner Kunst. Er war sehr an wissenschaftlichen Texten interessiert, also alles von Elektronenforschung bis zu radioaktiven Wellen, bis zu biologischen und organischen Formen. Andererseits war er auch sehr an theosophischen, mystischen, okkult Theorien seiner Zeit interessiert. Also der Titel Kosmos Kandinsky verbindet auch wirklich diese zwei Welten, wie man auch in seiner Kunst sehr schön sehen kann.
The title of the exhibition, Kandinsky's Universe, I think is a really fantastic way to reconsider the development of geometric abstraction. Expanding through kind of space is a really wonderful way to survey the multiplicity of experimentation around geometry, space, color, and the painted surface, but not only, also sculpture and architecture and design. Kandinsky, who was working in Munich at the time with the founding of the Blaue Reiter, was a really important moment for rethinking ideas surrounding imagination and the role of art in society. Kandinsky and his colleagues, the artists that he was working with, Gabriele Münter, Jawlensky, Verövkin, they really believed in the role of art in society and thinking how works of art can transform or have a transformative power in changing society and taking it into the future.
Those artists were really believed not only in the positivity of their work, but the universality of it too. They were interested in forms as universal forms. So if we go back to this idea of an international language, no, I don't think there was an international language, but there were forms that could be seen as universal, and they were forms obviously that go right back historically to Plato.
Wassily Kandinsky believed that artworks had to create an effect on the viewer. It wasn't just about kind of passive reflection and in a gallery in front of a work that related to the work's beauty, let's say. The work of art was a portal to a spiritual space.
The fact that a colour can be a language and working with colours it's something I just get so much stimulation from, you know, making colours work, having a relationship with each other. It's very three-dimensional. It's not a shallow space, it's a very deep space that he inhabits. When you look at them, they seem to go into an infinity in the distance.
Kandinsky invented abstraction, which is to take away, to abstract from the painting, recognizable imagery. Up until then, people expected, and many people still do expect, to see something they recognize in a painting. And if they don't, they're very disappointed. And so they're bringing an expectation. And I think he made the first paintings that shocked people to realize that they had to look into themselves to understand what they were looking at, and nothing was made easy for them.
Wassily Kandinsky considered himself as a prophet almost, and I think he talked about this also in his writing, that he had a role in society to create change and effect. So the work of art and his compositions weren't an end in themselves of painterly experimentation. It was about creating kind of a spiritual sensation in the viewer, much like an icon. It carries us, the viewers, to a spiritual state of being. The idea that artworks could have a spiritual effect, but also that line and colour, the compositions in his work, could carry kind of sensations or vibrations that would also, I think, kind of shake the viewer in Germany at the time, in German society in Munich, and wake them up to kind of take account of contemporary life. And I think this effect was very important for Kandinsky, who believed that by looking at his compositions, which were also quite large, I think this is also, we need to remember that he really attempted to make monumental works of art as well. And in a similar vein to, I guess, Malevich and El-Lissitzky and the constructivists such as Rodchenko and others in Imperial Russia and then in Soviet Russia, the context and the society where the artworks are produced really give birth to the ideas that are then put on a canvas on board, in theatre, in design. So I think going back to history, to politics and to cultural context is so important. So when Vasily Kandinsky comes back to Russia at the outset of the First World War, we cannot underestimate the context of war, which of course had such a profound impact on human life and also I think on society and the thinking about the future.
Was eigentlich interessant war im kuratorischen Prozess, ist, dass ganz viele Künstler und Künstlerinnen irgendwie verknüpft sind oder auf irgendeine Weise in einem Netzwerk waren. Also Paris 30er Jahre ist ein wunderschönes Beispiel dafür. Auch nach dem Krieg gibt es einerseits natürlich ganz viele europäische Künstler, die in Exil mussten in Amerika. Andererseits gab es auch amerikanische Künstler, die nach Paris gegangen sind. Also Paris hatte natürlich weiterhin den Ruf als absolute zentrale Kunststadt. Und Leute wie Ellsworth Kelly oder Carmen Herrera, eine Künstlerin aus Kuba, sind da dahin gegangen, um die moderne Kunst zu lernen und haben da ihre abstrakte Malweise gelernt und angefangen. Andererseits jemand wie Kenneth Noland war Schüler von Joseph Albers am Black Mountain College in Amerika und hat da in diese Tradition dann weitergesetzt. Also es gibt in verschiedene Richtungen dann diese Anknüpfpunkte und diese Netzwerke.
Here he was from Russia, came to Germany. Germany obviously was in a terrible state after the First World War, and there was again a need to somehow reconstruct and do something, which unfortunately ended up in the National Socialist regime. But up until that point, I think there was still somehow a feeling amongst artists at any rate, and this was manifested in the Bauhaus, that somehow you could build something new and build something ideal.
And I think this is one of the most important takeaways when you look at artworks in the exhibition, because it's not just formal experimentation, it's really artworks that played a role in constructing a new society. And that's why we need to look back at the lives of the different artists that you will encounter in the exhibition and to think about where they were, what they were doing, who did they know, who did they correspond with, what artworks did they see, but also what was their role in the society.
Das Schöne in dieser Ausstellung ist, dass man die einzelnen Aspekte, die als Ismen immer einzeln betrachtet wurden, die Op-Art, der Konstruktivismus, Abstraktion, Kreation, die Style, also diese ganzen Einzelerscheinungen, die immer in einzelnen Ausstellungen vorgestellt wurden, die haben wir sozusagen zusammen jetzt sprechen lassen in einem vielstimmigen Chor. Die Ausstellung wehrt sich gegen die voreingenommene Meinung, dass die geometrische Abstraktion inhaltsleer, vielleicht auch ein bisschen langweilig und selbstbezogen ist. Also hier kommen die Dinge wirklich zum Tanzen und das ist, glaube ich, auch das, was sich Kandinsky gewünscht hätte, denn für ihn hatten diese Elementarformen ja auch immer Dimensionen von Musik, von Gefühl, von Synästhesie, also dass man Klang mithört, wenn man eine Farbe sieht. Und ich denke, da werden wir ja seinen Überlegungen, die er am Bauhaus angestellt hat und die so weit rezipiert wurden, da werden wir mit dieser Ausstellung gut gerecht. Und es ist eine große Freude, dem zu folgen.